Hello, beautiful people. Hope you're doing well. Happy 2025 to all of you. Now, as we start this, let me ask you this. Is 2025 resolution of yours also this, that you actually optimize your space, optimize the things that you have around, or are you also one of those people like me who have those dresses which never were worn but were bought for a certain price? Are you also the person who buys 10 things and later on wonders, why do I buy this? Or you're hungry and 5 of you order food but it is too much for you? Well, all this happens to us because there is an unconscious pattern working within us that falls prey to all the marketing. Not that marketing is bad. Marketing is right in its own place, but the way we perceive it as consumers can be much more conscious. That is what we discuss today with the very wonderful, the two geniuses, Robert and Aaron. Now, when I say with Robert and Aaron, and I bring you a heavy topic also, you know that they'll make it fun. You know that the fun lies in how you tell it than what you say only. And that is what we're up to experiencing. I assure you this is going to be a fun episode. If you liked our last episode on business partnership, which actually was the later one that we recorded, then you will love this one. So go ahead and watch this, and don't forget to sign up for their upcoming challenge. Go to AHR3, the link is in the description below, and sign up for the challenge that comes on Jan 13th. I'll see you on the other side. Bye. Hello, beautiful people. Today I have two wonderful guests joining me, Aaron Huey and Robert Riopel. They are here to talk to us today about some of the topics that intrigue them the most, some of the topics that these two gentlemen, more than that, these two geniuses, really see through firsthand. Today we are going to talk about something called conscious consumerism. Yes, we live in a world where we are motivated by the consumeristic forces, but is there a way of being conscious here? Is there a way of thinking, feeling, and then buying? But before we do that, here I welcome Aaron and Robert to the show, and I would love them to talk a bit about themselves, and then we'll proceed. Welcome, Aaron. Welcome, Robert.
Hey, Sitka, thank you so much. Robert, I'll let you start since you love to talk about yourself so much.
How did you know? First of all, I'm a big believer life is too short, and there's way too many serious people on the planet. So I love to help people live life with joy, and I'm blessed to be able to travel around the world teaching mindset trainings on how to handle your money as well as inner empowerment, all a bunch of different trainings around the world. And for the past 20 years, I've been blessed to do that. Personally teaching over 500,000 students on live, plus between Aaron and I, how many we've done virtually, the count we're lost on that one. But I just like to have fun while I assist people in guiding and assisting them in identifying their passion and learning to live that passion and their purpose. So that's me. Aaron, how about you?
Much like Robert, since the COVID era, being able to see how the in-person work can translate to the online virtual work has been spectacular, with very little momentum lost, in my opinion. And I certainly see a lot of companies did lose momentum during that time, especially if they were live seminar people. My work has been helping people solve crisis problems: addiction, self-harm, mental health, abuse, abandonment, being assaulted. I have been in the trenches of heavy trauma, not only in my personal life, but then coaching other people through theirs. And that led to coaching children and teenagers, and then doing rites of passage programs, and then sober homes and residential treatment centers. And all this while the past 20 years traveling around the world side by side with Robert, helping adults confront lifelong issues and really take charge to create the life they know that they want. And since COVID, Robert and I became very sincere business partners and have continued to spread our message not only separately, but then also together with really pinpointed business topics that can really help someone take their business from, I have a great idea in helping people solve their problems, to making money helping others. So we've had a great time, and yeah, we do have a lot of fun.
Lovely. Thank you so much for those wonderful introduction. And guys, I have been a student to both of them. I've been lucky enough to be accepted as a student by both Robert and Aaron. So that is one of the highlights of my 2024. And if you both hadn't been business partner, if COVID wouldn't have happened, that would have not happened. Max, I would be student of one of you, not both of you. So, and yes, we need to have fun all along the way. It needs to be worthwhile a journey. Life is too short. There is a way we need to spiral up. And that brings me to our topic. In this world of consumerism, how do you see consciousness blending in? And You've traveled so many countries, both of you. So, what is the common trend that you see that makes you believe in the power of conscious consumerism as the next step? I remember you mentioning in one of our sessions that conscious entrepreneurship is also something you see. So, I think
Yeah.
that ties well with conscious consumerism as well. Yep.
And Sitka, something you actually said, and this is one of the reasons why Aaron and I do what we do, is because if people aren't conscious, they end up, especially like, well, we're recording this, we're getting ready for here in North America, the US Thanksgiving. And there's a big sale called Black Friday, which everybody goes crazy. And now, which started off as a 1 day sale, has turned into the whole month is a Black Friday. And it's just crazy enough that it gets people to go unconscious. They want them to just go and say, hey, there's a sale, buy it. And what you said earlier that really kind of resonates is when you help people become conscious. When they're unconscious, they just go and spend as a way of fulfilling themselves. They think it's going to fill that empty void. And that's just my opinions on it. But when you allow them to be conscious of why they're making the purchase they do, all of a sudden the consumerism isn't just buying to fill an emotion. It's not just buying to fill an emptiness that's inside them. They're looking at it and going, okay, this is something that I am either really, really want because I've stepped back and said, is it something that's an instant gratification or is it something I really, truly would like to have in my life? And now they can come from a different direction. Instead of FOMO and having that fear of missing out, they go, okay, you know what? It happens to be on sale. It is something I've checked in with myself that I could really use right now. I'm going to do the deal. And all of a sudden their spending habits go down. It's not just emotional. So that's kind of my side of the way I look at it. What about you?
Well, I will say so much of what you have taught people all over the world is becoming very conscious about their money and recognizing, what their behaviors and patterns are with money. I would like to introduce this concept to people with something that a lot of us already know, and that is the cereal aisle in a grocery store. Where are the healthy cereals? Where are the cheap, sugary cereals? One of them are in reach of the children. One of them are in reach of the adults. There is an eye line where children, as they walk down the aisles, can see what they would like to promote to their parents. Now, this is largely unconscious because a child is in reaction to their blood sugar levels, to the hypnotic marketing tactics that are all over daytime TV or morning TV or YouTube or whatever. And that's not just children. That is also the adults. That is also the experience of going to sleep. Robert and I have taught often because we have watched people who are running to the back of the room, as we like to call it, in a seminar. When you go to a seminar and you have a great time and the person is really good, and then they start making their offer of their next program. And people utilizing the experience of having had a great time and feeling really good and feeling empowered in their lives to run to the back of the room to buy the next event. Sitka, you brought up knowing, liking, and trusting. Do you really know the person? Do you really like the person? Do you really trust the person? These are things that feelings can override. I feel good. Therefore, I'm anchoring and attaching to what this person has done. And I'm running to the back of the room because this person made me feel good. Be clear, they didn't make you feel good. You feel good because of what you did based on their process of problem solving. That's number one. Number two is there is a difference between being a consumer and being a critic. And what Robert is extremely talented at teaching is having people critique their own financial habits. That's an important piece. We bring that into all aspects of our business. Can you critique your own business? Can you critique your own moments in these Black Fridays? Are you caught up in a very not real thing like supplies are limited time only? Those aren't real things, but those are fear-based things. And if we begin to critique our own emotional response, we can stop consuming. And this not only goes for, and this is the part I love about this practice, once we start waking up to what marketers and salesmen and what those offers contain, not just the product they're selling, but the neuro-linguistic programming, the covert persuasion, the sales psychology, once we start waking up, we don't just look at them and say, oh, I don't like the way they sell. We can actually go past that and say, I don't like the way I buy. I'm buying in reaction to something rather than in response to true need, not just want. And that's what takes us from consumer to critic. When I say know, like, and trust, we think we know this person because we've spent a couple hours or days with them and they're on stage and they're leading us through a problem solve that feels really good. Do you know them?
Mm-hmm.
I know you know their social media page, but do you know them?
Yeah. Yep.
That's the difference between consumerism and being a critic.
And what's cool, Aaron, about what you're saying too is let's add that third C. from consumerism to critic to conscious. That's how you guide through and actually allow that flow to happen.
So what I hear you both saying is that consumerism, like the attitude of a consumer is to see what is the value in what is being promised. A critique will question a little further if this is what I really need. When you're conscious, how is this working really? Like, are you critiquing everything, or are you critiquing and then figuring out what do I still need? Or
well, yeah, Aaron,
sorry
go
if
ahead.
it went too
You go first
technical,
on this one.
but basically maybe I'm coming to this. How do you want a consumer to turn into a self-critic? Do I really need to buy this? And we have done it. Honestly, there is a trend towards more healthier food. There is a trend like Indira Nooyi, the ex-CEO of PepsiCo. She talks about the buyout or the acquisition of Tropicana. And there was a lot of voice in her board that you're not doing the right thing. Cola is always cool and will stay cool. I don't think we are still in the same age. I mean, okay, packaged drinking still has its own pros and cons, but at least they move towards something healthier as PepsiCo. So similarly, and there was an interview where she was asked the same, and she was like, what are they saying now? But she spotted a trend which was guided by certain consumer psychology or conscious consumerism actually building up. So how do you see it building up, and do you have any practices that you would like to share with our audience?
My first thing is, I hope that the consumer to critic path, that problem solve that can start with around health food or just how you spend money or just your reaction to marketing tactics and techniques, translates into everything you do. How you're in relationship with your children or your partner, how you're in relationship to your work. How many memberships or subscriptions do you have for your business or for yourself that you don't even use, but you still pay for each month? That's the difference between being a consumer and a critic. Just that moment of saying, wait, where did that $10 charge come from on my credit card? Are you looking at your bank accounts? Are you looking at your bills? This is the process where it begins to move past the initial problem solve. I need to save money. Great problem solve process. Into, I need to save my marriage. I need to save my life. I need to save my children's future. That's where consumer to critic. For me, and I'll just drop the bomb and then let Robert take over his perspective. For me, it's all about the soul check. And I'll talk about the soul check.
Yeah. And to me, that's being present is the key to everything. That's conscious. And so going with what you're talking about, Sikta, is, hey, someone spotted a trend, Pepsi to having a healthier kind of drink. Yeah, if you're not present to what your audience, your customers, your clients want, then you're going to be totally off the mark. When we teach trainers, Aaron and I, we're talking about being present in the moment, because if you're so mired down in your PowerPoint and you're not seeing where your audience is at, you're not present with them, you're just talking and you're losing them. And so you've got to be present to be able to see. Your consciousness will allow you to say, oh, okay, there's something in the audience that they're not liking right now. I got to check in and I'm going to make an adjustment. And that's what PepsiCo did, is they made an adjustment. They saw their market share going down and it's like, okay, what's the difference? How do we look at it? Going from your example. And so the more present you are, the more conscious you are. And it's not about how do I have the right answers, in my opinion. And again, I'm just going to say it because I agree with everything Aaron's saying. I agree with your questions. It's the way I look at it is, if I try to plan everything out, I'm not going to be conscious. I'm going to be overwhelmed and I'm going to do nothing and I'm going to just start consuming. But if I can be present,
Yes,
then I
that's
can
where
do
the consuming happens.
It's exactly when it happens. And you talk about health. No wonder people all of a sudden start binge eating. All of a sudden people start binge watching on the different streaming platforms, is because they are trying to unconsciously fill a void because they got overwhelmed and because they thought they had to plan everything out perfectly. So when you end up being present, it allows you in the moment to make little adjustments. That's the consciousness, and not having to be perfect at it. Giving yourself permission to make mistakes.
I have one follow-up question for you, Robert, and then we'll come back to you, Aaron, for your hack. How does a person catch themselves with respect to whether they are actually fulfilling themselves? Because whether it's binge watching or binge eating, it is an attempt to fulfill yourself or fill up yourself with something that you feel is good for you. How do you catch yourself in that moment and know that, okay, I am getting overwhelmed because I'm not taking the right route? It almost seems to me like you have put your car, like your foot is on your car brakes, but you're really accelerating it and you want to drive forward. So the wheels are turning around. There's a lot of tension, but nothing really is moving. But how does a person catch himself or herself?
To me, two things. And I know Aaron has ideas on this as well, because this is why we work together, is because we both have our different flows with it. But one is practice. You practice being more conscious, practice being more present. And, there's several techniques that can be done in that. Easiest one, focus on your breath. You know when you're feeling overwhelmed. So the second one is trust. And it's trusting yourself. Trusting yourself that, okay, something's feeling a little off right now. So I'm going to trust by focusing on my breath. I'm just going to come back to present. I'm going to check in with myself. That practice and the trust together to me is kind of, and it may sound simplistic, but you got to start simple.
It has to be simple.
Otherwise, you're
if
going to
it is
keep
going
overwhelmed.
to work. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This is where the concept of the soul check comes in. And I would like to look at the different uses of the soul check or the soul swipe or the soul account. This is where you have to have a heart soul to soul moment. You asked, how do you know whether or not you're buying because you really need something or buying to fill a hole? Well, first of all, let's acknowledge and accept that filling any hole means that there's a hole. And it's the hole we need to address, not the fulfillment. Why do we have a hole there? What caused that hole? Who caused that hole? When did that hole appear? And most importantly, am I supposed to fill this hole? I've learned growing up without a biological father involved in my life. That was a big hole to have. And it wasn't until 20 years ago that it just kind of dawned on me that I'm not supposed to fill that. There's an empty chair at my table. And everybody comes to eat with me, my friends, my family, and I have a dad. I don't have a father. I have a man who raised me. I have a man who did everything that a father was supposed to do. But he's not my father. He's my dad. But he doesn't sit in the father chair. He sits in the dad chair, and I love him for it. He's never tried to sit in the father chair. He's always sat in the dad chair. That father chair is empty. That's a hole. Now, I've tried to fill it with drugs. I've tried to fill it with food. I've tried to fill it with women. I've tried to fill it with havingness. But part of the havingness is having a hole. Because everything I threw into that hole turned out that hole can't be filled. It's a bottomless pit. It's supposed to be empty. So the recognition that there's something that exists that you are trying to fill, you can't fill it full. You have to leave it empty and learn to live with that emptiness. That's part of the shadow work that we do in coaching. When we're training trainers, they want to solve everybody's problems. Folks, there's problems that sometimes aren't meant to be solved, and letting it go actually solves the problem. Letting go of the need to fill it full solves the problem. So that's the first thing, is the acknowledgement of I have a hole. Well, now you're in the soul check. Now you're looking at this new TV. Oh my God, it's 8K and blah, blah, blah. And it's 93 inches. And why am I getting this now? What am I going to do with this? Why do I need it? Do I need it? Do I just want it? Why do I want it now?
Binge watching will be much better.
Yeah, exactly. This other maladaptive coping strategy I have in my life will be so much more enjoyable, right? This is the soul check. And Robert is 100%. How does it start? Breathing. How does it start? Trusting that if you have your shopping cart in the aisle, or you've got everything loaded up into your virtual shopping cart, and you take your cursor up and close the window, the stuff will still be in your cart. Trust me. They want to remind you that you wanted this stuff. But what would it be like to walk away? Well, it's only a sale for today. Limitations. That's what
That will be
has
a
got
powerful
me.
thing to do, isn't it? To walk away from it. You'll actually be building some power.
Robert and I have these two people that we truly admire and learn a lot from. And we've noticed that every time we negotiate or talk with them or offer a concept, a deal, or an idea that we could do for them, even if it's something that we know they would benefit from us doing for them, and we're not looking to charge. We want fair value exchange with them only. We're not looking to have money pass between us. We're looking, they've done something for us. We want to do something for them. And even when they make that offer, they go, okay, thank you for making that offer. We'll let you know. And we're like, but tell us now. They're like, well, we don't do that. We don't say everything now. We sit on our hands for a minute. And it's really admirable. It's frustrating as heck. It's really admirable because they're doing soul checks and they're making sure that soul account is full, not just that need and want account. Their soul account is full first. Then they decide what they're going to buy. I really like it.
And there's a second little underlying thing that Aaron just talked about. Most people, one of the reasons they have the issue with consciousness is they're trying to do it all on their own. Notice what he said. They check in with each other. Aaron and I do this with each other. The reason we're business partners is because we want to add value, but we also keep ourselves in soul check. Because it's, and I reached out to Aaron the other day and said, hey, I think this would be a good idea. And, I've kind of started changing my mind on it. And he gave me his perspective on it, where he's at it. And I wrote back and went, yeah, thank you. You're right. We don't need to pay for that right now because we've got what we need to do. It was just a gut reaction of this would make it easier, as an example. And yet I knew from understanding from an offer that had been made, everything was there and it was great value, absolutely without a doubt. But was it something that was needed to be bought in that moment, even though there was a limitation, yada, yada, yada. And because of that, check in with each other. And so you can soul check with others instead of just trying to do it all on your own and taking on that overwhelm and that pressure. And because we did that check in together, I was able to step back and go, yep, you're right. Out of the instant I need it to do it now and make a decision, I took a deep breath and went, there is another way. Love it. Appreciate it. Thank you.
And let's real quick, let's look at the other side of this. How Robert has soul checked me is there have been times when we've gone to make an offer and we want to sell something and I'm keeping our costs too low. I'm keeping because I'm afraid. I'm afraid of being told no. I'm afraid of not being wanted. I'm afraid of being abandoned, not just by my biological father. That's translated into clients. That's translated into customers. That's translated into sales. And if I'm expressing desperate nature, as we are experiencing a lot of success in our business and success in our partnership, if one of the partners is expressing desperation, then the other person may have to do the soul checking and saying, hey, how you doing here? Because our product is actually a little bit more valuable and the service we offer are more valuable than what you're representing, in my opinion. Can we just check in on this? Not saying you're wrong and we're doing it my way, but saying, are you doing okay? Because I'm feeling, and we've been able to do that for each other. And it's helped us grow because not only, this is the part about saving and making money. You got to do both. You've got to save money and you've got to make money. And so as we come to this thing, and as what Robert said, doing it by yourself, sometimes you don't have time to soul check. I mean, you always do, but limited time only. The supplies are limited. I only have a limited amount of energy and I got to get this done.
Absolutely. Yes.
No, you got to do a soul check, and having a partner helps with that. As long as when they do, you've practiced breathing, because sometimes the soul checks are uncomfortable and inconvenient. You might be on an unconscious run to the back of the room or all the way to the cash register and somebody says, can we take a breath here? Yeah, can we just take a breath here for a second? Can we practice like being in this moment together, even if it's just a moment? And suddenly you're both awake with a cart full of things you don't need. So you put them back on the shelves. Or maybe sometimes you do finish the run to the back because it's a really good save.
Duly noted. Lovely insights. Can I summarize what you both have said?
Good luck.
First,
I can't wait to hear this because...
Oh God, you really have fun, don't you?
We do.
But yeah, first is being present. And one major way of being present is focusing on your breath, because that brings you back to the current moment and doesn't let you linger either in your past or what you're hoping for the future, which are usually the reasons for unconscious buying or unconscious consumerism. Next, having trust in yourself to actually pause and look into what is it exactly that's going on within you. Trusting yourself on those instincts instead of having those fair-weathered friends tell you, hey, nothing, you're just going through a bout, go on. No, maybe there is something which you want to catch right. Coming back to Aaron's point, soul check. Such a wonderful term that you've invented, and I've seen you do that all the time. Even your 311.3, even that was a good term. But yeah, guys, we are talking of a challenge that both of them had run. And the soul check that one needs to do and understanding that certain things will not be there in our life. While Aaron, you mentioned that you had a dad, you didn't have a father. Allow me to say this, even if I'm wrong. Maybe it was an expectation still put on by the society that you need to have a father. Maybe we don't. I mean, if my parents are watching, sorry, I love both of you. But at the same time, I mean, these are needs put on us. Like, there is a funny conversation that I and my mom have. It has been almost 25 years since the time I never call her mom. I call her baby. That's her nickname. It's even stored that way on my mobile. Many friends of mine confuse it to a boyfriend's number, which rings at 12 o'clock. Not really. It's my mom calling me. But we share a beautiful relationship when it comes to both of us as two people. The moment she owns up being a mom and I own up being a daughter, it gets skewed all the way. Because both of us believe I'm the more mature one. Or the 100-year-old one, as we colloquially talk. Yeah, so that way, I mean, should I feel bad that I don't have a motherly figure? I mean, I'm happy she accepted being called by her nickname by her daughter, so-called biological daughter. So maybe there are a lot of expectations that society puts on us. It really doesn't matter. I'm glad you had a dad. I'm glad it worked out for you this way, but yes, we need to do that check and we need to understand that some things never get full and we don't need it maybe. Maybe we are structured a little differently. And
Another very, very wonderful thing that both of you brought through your chemistry is that having that honest partner with you, whom you treasure all through your life, that best friend with you, who helps you do the soul check easily. And both of you brought about your sides of how the soul check goes on for you, which was so endearing for me, and which also plays out every time we see you together running a session for someone. And having those kind of people around also keeps you more conscious, keeps you at ease, that you don't crave more things. So choosing the right people. And here we were talking of consumerism, but the next episode will be talking about business, and we will understand how it is right to choose the right kind of business partners. And we'll start from the point of soul check and take it further. Would that be okay with both of you?
Perfect.
Sounds good.
Okay. Any last words that you have got to say? And I would love for you to also share about your upcoming challenges so that our audience can participate in the same. And where can they find you? Where can they connect with you if they also want to take up some coaching from you, some sessions from you?
Well, great. What I'll say is that what we would love for you to do is run over to R3, AHR3, Aaron, Huey, Robert, Raymond, Riopel, the 3 R's, HR3.com, and check out the dates of our next challenge. What we challenge people to do is make money on virtual events. We've been making money on virtual events for a long time, and we want to show you how, because we've done it very, very successfully. Now, when I say a long time, I'm not talking about, we started last year and we're doing really well. I'm saying that Robert and I, for 20 years each, have been running online, have been running in person, have been guests at other people's events, anywhere from 2 people in the audience to 2,000 plus people in the audience. We can show you how to do that. And so go to AHR3, check out the dates of our next events, and join us. Let's see if you can survive the challenge. You can. I promise you can. Not only can you, but within these 5 days, you're going to understand how to make money online very quickly and easily.
And what's cool is something that Aaron said earlier is some of those greatest gifts that you'll, because people might go, but I have nothing that I could teach online. And it might become from one of those filled or unfilled holes that you're not meant to fulfill or fill full because of the fact that, as Aaron loves to say, and Aaron, I'm going to let you go through, I'm going to just give the pain as your path, and I'll let you do the other ones.
The wound is your way. The tears are your trail. The wreckage is your resume. That mess made you the messenger. That problem made you the pro. That's a new one. I just made that up.
I like that one.
That's a good one.
And the key for everybody that we want them to understand is that your greatest tragedy or heartbreak or what didn't work in your life may be the greatest gift you have to give other people. We've all gone through ups and downs, and we think we have to be perfect. No, you don't. It's when you crumbled that now you can teach someone how you got through it or what you learned from it. And that may be truly the greatest gift you can give them. So we encourage people to check out AHR3, check out the dates for our next one. Come have fun, because we make the teaching fun so that you don't get overwhelmed. We break down step by step, including our concept of get one done.
That I can vouch for. You really get one done, and you break it step by step into such a fun exercise that one doesn't realize that 1.5, 2 hours, 3 hours have already passed on. Either it is the in-person meetings that I've attended or events, or it's the virtual ones. All the best to both of you. I look forward to catching up with you on some other episodes, have some other interesting conversations. Thank you so much for making time from your very, very busy schedules to do this with me. Thank you, Robert.
Our pleasure.
So that was my conversation on conscious consumerism with Aaron and Robert. You saw how they weaved everything together to the basic patterns that we have as humans, to the basic fulfillments and the unfulfilled holes that we have. What we truly need is to understand how to be, and of course to buy, but think, pause, reflect, and then buy. Well, with that, I will leave you to go ahead and catch up with your life and live a more conscious life. You will see more and more videos coming from my side, but if you have enjoyed this conversation, do not forget to sign up for Robert and Aaron's upcoming session on Jan 13th. It is going to be a joyride, 13th to 17th, 5 days of challenges that they are going to run on virtual events. And how do you do that? See, we think it's not relevant, but it's more relevant than ever before. And this is slowly becoming the status quo of how you do your business, how you spread the word about yourself as an expert. 1 year before, if you would have asked me, I would have never agreed to do a YouTube video. To now you see me having posted almost 46 short videos. So that's the world that we are moving into. I invite you to join my world. With that, I'll let you discover yourself either through the challenge or in your daily life. But don't forget to have fun all the way. We'll stay connected. Bye.